Hi, welcome to Polyphonic Press. I'm Jeremy Boyd, and today I'm going to be looking at the second album by the Black Crowes, entitled The Southern Harmony and Musical Companion. Here we go. So this is the Black Crowes' second album, released in May of 1992. The name from this album was lifted from an old hymnal compiled by William Walker back in the 1800s. This is the first album to feature guitarist Marc Ford and keyboardist Eddie Harsch. It was recorded in a mere 8 days after an extensive tour supporting their debut album, Shake Your Money Maker. This album really shows how good of a band the Black Crowes really are, because it was mostly recorded live, and even some of the songs on the album were first takes. At the time this album was released, grunge was probably the most popular thing going on in rock music, and Nirvana had only released Nevermind 8 months prior to the Southern Harmony's release. This is far from a grunge album. It's mostly rooted in blues, soul music from the late 60s, early 70s. Despite that, the album debuted at #1 on the Billboard charts and had a few top 10 hits with Remedy, Sting Me, and Sometimes Salvation. After the success of Shake Your Money Maker, was unsure whether the Black Crowes could live up to the reputation they had built up as a blues-inspired rock band. With this album, they proved that they weren't just a novelty retro band, but a band that was capable of growing as musicians and songwriters. The production on this album is pretty straightforward, given the way it was recorded. It was produced by George Drakoulias, who also produced Shake Your Money Maker, but the difference between that album and this album is the polished sort of production style of Shake Your Money Maker is kind of lost, and they kind of stripped everything away and just went for a more natural sound. The thing I think adds a lot to these songs is the use of production with shakers and bongo and conga drums really add a sort of a different flavor than you would hear on their first album, which was, the beats were pretty straightforward and not much else going on. Something that Chris Robinson has pointed out is that Steve Gorman, the drummer, has kind of developed a syncopated rhythm on this album, whereas the debut album, the beats were very rigid and sort of straightforward. And that's really something that only can be achieved by playing live and getting comfortable with the musicians that you're playing with. The song that I really think defines this album for me is My Morning Song. It's a song that came out of the latter part of the Shake Your Money Maker tour, where they were starting to experiment with jamming and sort of stretching songs out and not playing them the way that they were necessarily recorded. And that's really the heart of this album, is the way that they are able to write and record songs that transfer really well to a live setting. My Morning Song and Thorn in My Pride in particular are two songs that when they play live, they don't really play them the way that they were recorded. They sort of jam a little bit at the beginning and sort of draw out the middle parts and really create some spontaneous live moments on stage that had nothing to do with the record. But that kind of spirit really comes out on the recording of these songs as well. My favorite song on this album is really hard to choose because it's such a solid effort from start to finish, but if I had to choose, I think I would probably go with No Speak, No Slave. On the tour supporting this album, they opened many shows with this song, and it's really a perfect opener because it has a little bit of a jam at the beginning, and it kind of slowly builds up before it explodes into the main riff of the song. So it's a really good way to open up the show and get the crowd excited, and it's sort of building up the tension before it completely explodes. I also think this song features some of the best guitar work from Marc Ford. His guitar parts are really sort of there to complement Rich Robinson, who's playing the rhythm guitar, but he also takes the opportunity when he has to do a solo to really shine through. And that's really the mark of a true guitarist, is his ability to know his place within the song and shine when he needs to and complement the song and not get in the way of the vocals. The Black Crowes are one of my favorite bands, and this is my favorite album by them. The band is very tight on this album, but the recording is very loose, as it was kind of done off the cuff and just in maybe 1 or 2 takes on each song. If you're unfamiliar with the Black Crowes and you're looking to get a little deeper into their catalog, the Southern Harmony and Musical Companion is a really great place to start. So let me know what you guys think of this album. If you'd like to suggest a classic album for me to review, please leave that in the comments. Be sure to subscribe so you know when I post a new video. You can check us out on Twitter and Facebook, and that's about it. Take it easy.